Go.
Alright, so this is our 6-step water treatment process simulation. We're starting off with our wastewater here, which consists of small stones and rocks and sands, which is supposed to represent the grit. And then we have tea water, which is supposed to represent the fine human solids. Then we have some leaves and some sticks in there as well. And then we also have some oil to represent the oils and the fats. And then we have sugar in there, which is supposed to represent the dissolved nutrients. Then we have a grit chamber, primary settling tank, bioreactor, secondary settling tank, and a disinfection. So our first step is to pour our wastewater into the grit chamber, which is the first initial process. It's supposed to, get rid of most of the bigger particles, and there's going to be some fines that get through.
As you can see, our pouring process is efficient enough to take care of a lot of grit work. They should just have us work at a grit chamber.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have to let that drain through a little bit and get most of the water through. There's going to be some fines in there as well.
Go.
So as you can see, we have removed most of the big stuff like the rocks and the leaves and the sticks, but there's going to be some fines left over in our grit chamber. There's a bunch of oil and some small fines in the bottom. I'm going to just mix it up and see what is left over in the bottom. You can see that there's some fines that are collecting at the bottom, but all the oils are sticking to the top. So our next step is to pour the water from the grit chamber into the primary settling tank, trying to leave most of the grit in the chamber. But it's pretty hard to do. You can see that there's some solids left behind in the bottom, some small fines. Alright, our next step in the primary settling tank is we're just going to let it sit there for about a minute or two and see what settles to the bottom. Alright, now I'm going to tilt it on its side, attempting to scrape off. You could see a lot of oil and fines that are floating at the top. I'm going to attempt to scrape off the oil and some leaves. But it's harder than it looks. And our next step is to pour this into our bioreactor, where we have a mixture of salt and fine sand, which is supposed to represent the microorganisms that are supposed to eat away the bacteria in the wastewater. And there's going to be some sludge left over in the bottom of this because it is a sludge settling tank.
Go.
Now I'm pouring the water from the settling tank, leaving the sludge behind because it is a sludge tank.
To our bioreactor.
To our bioreactor. Now we're going to put our special mix-in of salt and sand to represent the microorganisms. And we just have to let that sit there for about a minute or two and see what happens. Mix enough, we're going to pour it into the secondary settling tank. Make sure we leave nothing behind. And then we're just going to let that sit there for a while and see what settles to the bottom, and then we're going to pour it in our disinfection. So now that we've let our wastewater settle in the secondary settling tank, we're going to leave the solids behind on the bottom for the sludge. At least attempt to. We still have some fines on the top. There's minimal solids on the bottom. Now we're going to pour some bleach into disinfection to represent the phase. Add some more bleach.
Should I pause?
Mix it up a little bit. Ooh, got a leaf in there. Oops.
So kids, don't try this at home.
Yeah, I wouldn't attempt to drink that. But this is just merely a simulation to represent what happens in a wastewater treatment plant. And we will compare this to our control water. As you can see, there's a big difference.
Especially in color.
Yes. But we've got most of the fines out. There's still some oil on the top. But yeah, that is our 6-step process.
And as you can see, the bleach is doing its discoloring effect.
Yeah, we just let it sit in there for a little while longer, and it's slowly changing
Color.
Pause.
Well, as you can see, we added a little more bleach, and the color of it has been reduced to more closer to our sample color. And nope, not this time.